Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a speed build of an old abandoned frat house that has been destroyed after many parties have been thrown here. I've never done a house like this before, so this was quite a fun challenge, and I did struggle a lot with the upper floor of the house. I had a layout in mind when I was building this, but I couldn't get the roof to fit quite right, so I had to play around with that a lot. I kind of gave up on it after a while. So I was inspired to do this house by a YouTuber, Lil Simsie. She does this series on her channel where she renovates old houses that her subscribers make. So I wanted to make a house for that challenge. I'll leave her most recent renovating video down in the description if you guys want to check that out. It's a fun watch. And if you want more information on this challenge, you can check that out if you want to try this out for yourself, because this was a lot of fun. So I basically made this house for her for that challenge, even though I know that she'll probably never see this because there's like thousands of submissions. But this will be up on the gallery if you guys want to renovate this for yourself. I'll leave my gallery ID in the description as well. And while you're down there, follow me on Twitter. I always forget to plug that, but I have a Twitter. Mostly talk about Sims content, of course. And you can follow me on the Sims 4 gallery if you want to check out some of my other builds that are more normal than this. So the regular build and buy menu doesn't have a lot of the destroyed, distressed items that I needed for this build, so I did have to scroll through debug a lot, and I did cut that out because I thought that that would be boring to watch me just to scroll through debug and pick out trash. But that's where I got a lot of the trash piles that you'll see in this build and the destroyed items, and I think all of the landscaping is also from debug. I wanted to add more dimension to the front of this house because I felt like it was really flat. So I tried to add that little bump out on the front porch there, but it looked kind of weird, so I scrapped that idea. I did add a little sunroom to the back of the house to add a little bit more dimension back there, as well as this little bump out for the stairs. I thought that was clever because they fit perfectly up there. Now the layout of the upstairs was really difficult because it's quite a tight space and I wanted to fit a lot of bedrooms up here. So I did manage to put 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. They are really small, but this is just supposed to be a frat house, so they don't need to be big. And I also put a bedroom and a half bath downstairs as well. And I started putting nice furniture in the dining room because I forgot what we were going for with this house. So I started putting the new furniture from the birthday update, but thankfully I remembered before I got too far in furnishing. So I started scrolling through debug and I found some broken items like a broken dresser, and I found this fridge and stove, and I believe these are from Eco Lifestyle. I think they're items that you can get from the dumpster, as well as this bathtub. I used a lot of the items that you can get from a dumpster and a lot of the craftable items that your Sims can make, and as you can see here, I pulled out a bunch of piles of trash and clutter from debug. I got a new fridge here that's knocked over, dirty newspaper, a couple different of the gaming items from Get Together, and a bunch of different juice bottles. My goal with this build was to make it look like there had just been a big party thrown and maybe the cops shut it down so they had to abandon it, so there's still stuff laying on the table. I wanted to add a little bit of school spirit, but I didn't want to go too crazy with it because the premise of this is supposed to be that the guys that joined this frat only enrolled in college because they wanted to party, so they didn't really go to school that much. So eventually they get kicked out because they fail all of their classes and this house becomes abandoned. So for things like the flooring and the wallpaper, I know some packs have like old torn wallpaper. I think Vampires does, but I don't have that pack. So I decided to go for just like ugly, dingy looking things like gross tile and nasty carpet and just things that look old. And I left some pieces missing in the floor because I thought that made it look like it was broken, but I don't know if it works. It kind of looks weird. I wanted to use like old wallpaper, but I didn't want it to make it look fancy because I wanted this to be, you know, kind of a cheap rundown house. But I just ended up going with something plain and simple for most of the rooms, and then I just added cracks on the walls and a few different posters to give it some texture. I used these cheap dingy beds from Eco Lifestyle. I feel like these have the perfect look to them. They look gross and dirty and cheap. I also used a lot of the basic kind of IKEA looking furniture from Discover University, that like plasticky cheap furniture that came with that pack. I think those fit the vibe of The main packs that I used for this build were Discover University, Eco Lifestyle, and Get Together. Those were the 3 main ones that I used. And Eco Lifestyle was great for all of the clutter items. I found these cute little retro TVs in there, and I thought those were perfect because they're like cheap. I left this back space open because I was originally going to put a back porch there, but I couldn't be bothered. So I just put a dumpster and I put some extra trash back there. I also used cats and dogs for the newspapers that are all over the floor, and I put the little holes where mice come through because this house has been abandoned for a while and animals have probably gotten in. I think there's some muddy dog prints leading up to the door as well. And then I'm going to end this video here. Sorry, this is going to be so short. I'm not great at doing this like voiceover thing, but I'll insert some pictures of the finished house at the end. And of course, this will be up on the gallery if you want to take a closer look at it, or if you want to try renovating this yourself. That's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to see more from me. And I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone!